What's up? It's me. I just got back from a nice walk in the rain. It was like pouring rain. I was working at a coffee shop and started walking home, and it was just bad. And I had a rain jacket, but like everyone else was like in umbrellas and boots, and I was like in Nikes and a very poor rain jacket. It was funny. But that's exciting because it means that we're officially in fall. It's going to rain all this week, and it's cold, and I like it because nobody likes the heat. Why would you like the heat? Lots of cool stuff happening right now. I'm approaching the 2-month mark, which is cool, more or less, and I've done some stuff. My two friends that were visiting from Cal Poly left not this past weekend, but the weekend before, and it was on our list to go to a rather touristy place, which I find very interesting because it's a cemetery, and it's in Recoleta, which is a city just south of me. It's like, I don't know, 25-minute walk and like a 5-second Uber, and it's a really famous destination, partially because some famous people are buried there, but also because of the like architecture that went into these grave sites. And I think it's like 18th century is when it was built, and then obviously has continued on since then. But just like some really interesting grave sites, and it was just like, it's insane to see the amount of work that these families put in, or must have put in, to building these dedications to their family members. And a lot of them, you could basically walk downstairs and there were like rows and rows of spots that their family members, I assume family members, were stored in. And there were some that also had like ashes from being cremated set really nicely on like a marble table, and I don't know, just amazing sculptures like on top of this stuff, kind of very like Gothic era looking. So that was really fun to do that with them before they left, and highly recommend doing that if you come here. It will be recommended to you, I am sure. It was on my list last time we tacked to eat some Mexican food. Let me tell you, I did it on Friday. I went with a Venezuelan friend here. Any place, in my opinion, marking my words now, any place that claims to have Mexican food does not have Mexican food. They have like their version of it, which Mexico's really far away from here. There are not a lot of Mexican people in Argentina, so I understand not having the like appropriate influence perhaps, or even like the same ingredients, but like it was nothing close to Mexican food. I ordered a burrito, and it was like a tortilla this big, like rounded this big, and it came like halfway rolled and like open face, so it was a taco. And then I saw the tacos and they looked the same, so it was just, I don't know, it was funny. It tasted quite good, don't get me wrong, but it was not Mexican food. I'm not making a definitive statement yet. Like, I'm gonna go try the 4 other places that I found, but like, this is one that was recommended by an American who has like this food guide or whatever, restaurant guide for Argentina, and I was just like, girl, this is not Mexican food. In fact, you know what I was thinking? That's like a super good opportunity. So if anyone is out there looking for a career change, come on down, open up a Mexican restaurant. You will make enough money off of my purchases, I promise. Okay. Speaking of false Mexican food, I've been throwing up for like the last 3 weeks on and off, and had to miss a bunch of days of work, and oh my god, my backpack is falling. That scared me. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. I've been like nauseous for the last two-ish weeks, and then been like throwing up occasionally. It's funny because I've been here for 6 weeks or so, and for the first 6 weeks I was fine, or like the first 4 weeks, and I was drinking the water from the tap like I told you guys, which I've stopped doing that since. I'm purely drinking bottled water, which sucks because it's such a waste of plastic. They don't sell them in, you can't like go refill the existing plastic jugs that you have, nor do they sell them in like large enough portions in a glass bottle. So I'm like using so much plastic, which is awful. But the next Airbnb that I'm moving in, she actually has a filter on her faucet. Excuse me. So I'll be using that there. But for now, while I'm in this Airbnb, I don't have any choice and I have to drink that. Or I have to use bottled water. I was really sick, stopped drinking water from the sink, still got sick. So I'm not sure what it is. I feel fine right now, but like I threw up after that. Sorry, this is like so much information. But I threw up after the Mexican food, and then I had also gone to sushi. But the thing is, like, I've gone to certain sushi places and been fine. I went to sushi like 3 times in the first month that I was here. But this time that I first got sick, it was at a new restaurant. And then the other times that I got sick was after, like, eating new food, like, new restaurants. So I'm trying to do, like, a very plain diet right now and see if it's actually food or if I have some sort of bug. And then I need to go to the doctor, but I'm trying really hard to avoid going to the doctor. Okay. This past week was Labor Day in nearly every other country besides the U.S. The U.S. does theirs, obviously, in September, and so does Australia, and I think, like, Iceland. I'm not sure. There's a few other countries. But most of the rest of the world has Labor Day in May. So that was interesting because the whole town was basically shut down, but myself and a few others from my co-working space work U.S. holidays. Sorry, we work on the U.S. schedule, so we get U.S. holidays off even though we're living in another country. And that's like been an interesting adjustment because, I don't know, you just, like when I'm going to have holidays, everyone else is going to be working. And when they have holidays, I'm working. And so I don't really get to experience like what Argentines do on those days. But yeah, it was just interesting. It was like a ghost town. I had to work at Starbucks and there was like a bunch of people in there just hanging out, but everything else was like nearly everything else was closed, and so it was just interesting. The coffee here is super different. I forgot to mention that. It's most places that I've tried it at, it's burnt, like really, really hot and burnt, and they make it extremely strong, probably to cover the burnt taste. So I was reading something in the expat thread on Facebook, and someone was like, you should bring your own coffee from the United States because this is ridiculous. I was like, all right, she's really intense about her coffee. But yeah, it's interesting because they're more known for mate, so I don't think that they're like coffee connoisseurs per se. I found like a few places that are good, and espresso is really different from coffee as well, so like their espresso is pretty good in my opinion. Like most places you can get a general Americano and it tastes good. But I just thought that was funny. I also noticed that every like elementary school through high school kids, they wear uniforms, even if it's a public school. I think that's normal in a lot of places outside the U.S. And they start in March. So because the seasons are so opposite of the U.S., it's going to be interesting to see like during basically December, January, February, I think are their times off, which is cool. They're off for Christmas. And so like I don't know what their breaks are during the school year if they start in March, because that would be our spring break. So I don't know, it's interesting. I'm curious to see what happens with that. Been cooking at home a lot more now. I went to that empanada cooking class, and so I made empanadas at my house the other day. I had like some pumpkin, and they're really easy to make. I hope that I'll be able to make them in the U.S. Let's see. Okay. Let's talk about why I freaking love Argentine people. Okay. They really understand what work-life balance means. And I think I talked about this in the first or second video that I made, like, because it's so unstable here in terms of the economy, people tend to live like they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I think part of that mentality is displayed in their work-life balance. So my hours here are 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. more or less, sometimes 12 to 8, which makes my schedule the majority Pacific hours when my company's working. And the majority of my day is Pacific hours is what I meant to say. So I roll into the office at 11, 12. A lot of other Argentines also roll into the office at 11 or 12. And unlike me, they don't stay till 7 or 8. Like, I'll see people roll in like 10, 11, 12, or I'll hear about them. And they leave at like 4 or 5. They don't work like 8-hour days every day. And I'm sure some people do. But again, this is like what I've experienced. And I find that very awesome and fascinating because I think that they still work really, really hard. They're just either really efficient or they just don't believe in putting in that much work in a day, which is interesting and cool. I've noticed that people are just, I mean, this is Latin culture in general, but they are like really, everybody is very close to the people that are in their lives, like friends, family, coworkers. They're very lovey. They're very touchy. They are like, I don't know. It's like, let's say you get a promotion and your friends are excited for you. Like, people here would throw you a freaking party, like, just on a whim. Like, oh my God, that's incredible. Let's celebrate you. Yeah. Like, it's just so awesome to see how much they love each other. Like, they really love each other. And I think a part of that is, like, Latin culture in general. But it's just it's a very warm society. That's all I can say. Also, 3 times now, I have been to a place where my credit card didn't work, and I didn't have my debit card, and I also didn't have enough cash on me because I don't really carry a lot. And every single time, without hesitation, the person who was taking care of me just said, "Don't worry about it. Come back another day. I'm not worried at all." Guys, how many of you can tell me that would happen in the U.S.? Nope. Like, how incredible is that? They don't know me at all. They know I'm a foreigner. For all they know, I could be leaving tomorrow. Like, I don't walk in. This isn't after having, like, a really intense conversation with them to where they know that I'm from the States, that I live here, or that I'm a good person. Like, they don't know me at all. And yet, it doesn't worry them in the least bit that I won't come back. And every time I do, and every time I'm like the next day and I like promise them I'm going to bring it, and they're like, "Please don't worry. You're freaking out more than we are." And I'm like, that is just, what a testament to like humankind and like how they feel about other people. Or maybe they just don't care, but like I would think that they care quite a bit because of like money struggles and stuff here. So I think that they care, like they're going to be concerned if they don't get their money, but clearly they don't, I don't know, they just believe that you're going to do the right thing, I guess. It's the only thing I can insinuate. I just love that. Another thing that I think is part of Latin culture in general, but it happens a lot here, a lot of older people, my gosh, a lot of people my age, like 28, between like in your 20s through your 30s, a lot of people live with their parents at home. And I find that so smart for starters because it's extremely economical. But number 2, like nobody really gives a shit that they're living with their parents at age 28, 30, whatever. And in the US, there's such a stigma around living with your parents if you're 20 years old. It's like, you should be out of the house by now. You should have your career by now. Why are you still living at home? You're lame. Like, that's in general the feeling that I get from opinionated people when you tell them that you're living at home. It almost is a sign that you're not successful. And to me, it's like, you can save a lot of freaking money. And if you're helping your parents pay rent or their mortgage or whatever, you're also, I mean, it's just smart. It's smart for the family. It's smart for you. Like, you don't have to be, like, necessarily a freeloader living at home. And I think these guys are not. I often see people on Sundays, young men and women, walking their parents to go get groceries, carrying the groceries. Like, it's a very respectful culture. But it's awesome to me. I think that it's just interesting to see the difference between what that would feel like if you were living in the U.S. versus here. That's my opinion of most people in the U.S. Let's see. I've been having some really interesting conversations with people about our political system and our current leadership. I'm pretty good friends with 3 Venezuelans here, and we had like a 2-hour conversation about Trump helping Venezuela, and what they were very interested in my opinion on it. And I'm not going to share any of that here because this is not a political video. But I just thought it was interesting how much, as an American, people are curious what I think and why I'm living here. A lot of people are like, why would you ever leave the U.S. to come here? And other people are very proud of their country, and they're like, yeah, I love it here. It's beautiful. I understand why you came. But it's interesting, the people who question what I think about our leadership, what I think about our political system, what I think about the Argentine political system, what I think about the U.S. involvement globally. Yeah, so it's been interesting to have those conversations more and more. In general, of the 3 people that I talked to who are Venezuelans, they're very pro-help, any kind of help for the country. And even if there might be other... Yeah, anyway, they're just interested in the help. We'll just say that. Which I think is great. I mean, they need it really, really bad. And I would take it where I could get it, I suppose. Next on my list is planning more trips. I really want to go to like a musical theater here. That's not necessarily a trip. I think I already mentioned I want to plan a trip to Mendoza, which is the wine country here. There's been like a lot of free events going on that of course I missed because I was so sick, but I want to go to more like free events where you can see like a lot of the multicultural stuff going on here. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, sorry, it's so long. Bye!